On December 13th, COP28 ended in overtime. Nearly 200 countries agreed to begin transitioning away from fossil fuels. The stronger demand, the call to phase out fossil fuels, was dropped. Some may find this a bit disappointing, but this is a major step forward in the global fight against climate change. As many media have pointed out, this agreement is the first of its kind. But the important thing is that, as is stated clearly, the transition needs to be in a just, orderly, and equitable manner. Equitable manner, which means perhaps it's time to consider some of the payments that are overdue. Now, common but differentiated responsibilities is an idea shared by the international community in the climate campaign. Fossil fuel producers and consumers would have to make cuts to help the planet. That's a reality, and that's their responsibility. But many developing countries believe the developed world needs to bear a greater portion of the burden. According to many analyses and really common sense, developed countries became developed at the expense of the climate. Between 1850 and 2011, the developed countries were responsible for 79% of the carbon emissions. By 2021, the United States alone accounted for 20%. US, Canada, Japan, and those in Western Europe account for 12% of the global population. But in per capita terms, they are responsible for 50% of the greenhouse gases. Yet their actions, real actions, have been few.
In the United States, the oil, coal, and gas lobby has a big influence in both the Republican and the Democratic parties. And this means that we don't have real clarity of our public policies.
It is a glaring testament to a world where profits are prioritized over people and planet. It is a world where oil and gas conglomerates, shielded by the power of wealthy nations, continue to reap astronomical profits, while the survival of nations like ours hangs in the balance.
In 2009, developed countries promised to mobilize $100 billion per year for developing countries by 2020. The money would be used to support them in reducing emissions and adapting to climate change. But by 2020, the amount mobilized in the year was $83.3 billion. Oxfam's analysis shows that the real value of the spending was at most $24.5 billion. Promise broken, and it was hurtful.
It is the responsibility of developed world who must pay because they are the one who use all the fossil fuel. We cannot anymore accept the talks, the commitment, without the real action that is following.
This is a matter of trust. It must be fulfilled.
Transitioning away from fossil fuels is a beautiful idea, but no one should or can deny the right of development for the developing countries. That's another reality. They need growth and assurance of that growth. Assurances were provided before in various forms. Few were carried out. This is a crisis in the climate campaign, a crisis for humanity, and a crisis of confidence. As the world looks to take steps to reduce its dependence on fossil fuels, it's critical for every country to remember that development is a right for everybody, and a just, orderly, and equitable manner has to be just, orderly, and equitable.